And just
it's,
the fact, if you pause and just like think back what you
oh,
just said, even to 6 months ago, we
oh,
weren't
totally.
there.
Sharing with real estate agents how to grill loan officers, setting expectations. There's maybe.
Now we all know rate is important, right? Because that is a part of the calculation, but is that the only thing? So, hey everybody, Sean here. Welcome to the Rise by Renown Podcast. We are so glad you're here. Hey, if you are a real estate agent, mortgage professional, any kind of professional in this space, today we've got one for you you're absolutely going to love. We have got Katie Shive. I met her months ago. She is going to just bring some clarity and some context to what it is like to be branded, to be seen in this AI market. So, Katie, welcome. Welcome to the Rise Podcast.
Thanks for having me. I've been looking forward to getting on here and connecting. So always a pleasure.
As always, the pre-conversation was already starting to go into that space, and I was like, okay, we got to hit record. This is so
Gotta just
good.
do it.
You're right. So I'm gonna start with the obvious because I think it's really cool to get to talk to someone like you because you are not to overstate it, but you are pioneering a newly pioneered space. Does that make sense? I mean, you are now like not
Yeah.
only helping us navigate, I mean, we all as humans are trying to navigate AI now, but now all of a sudden there's the advent of the tour guides. There's the tour guides through this AI space saying, listen, this is how you can do this well. This is how
Yeah.
you can really do this terribly.
Yeah.
Um, so I just want to ask you, this might be kind of a weird question. What does it feel like? What does it feel like to kind of be like, you're that person going through Disneyland with the flag saying, all right, everybody follow me, follow me.
Right.
What does that felt like?
Uncomfortable.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. Yes and no. I think for me, it's been a natural jumping into AI. First of all, I would love to just set the grounds that if anybody tells you they're an AI expert, like you
Right.
probably want to run. Um, Nobody's really an AI expert. I mean, yes, there probably are actual, like the people that are
Sure.
working and pioneering the
Right.
LLMs and whatnot. But what I mean by that as an overstatement is nowadays everybody is using AI and you're just seeing, apps and tools and all of these things pop up left and right. Well, we
Yeah.
can give ourselves, any titles that we want. So, this is like cringe for me to be called or to consider myself an AI expert. Like you just
Right.
won't hear that out of me.
Okay.
I will tell you I'm an AI enthusiast. I
Right.
flippin' love learning this. So
Right.
being at Disneyland as a parallel. Um but I think why it feels so natural for me is because I was AI before AI was AI. And what I mean by that
Okay.
is I have a master's degree in marketing and business. Or yeah, I have my master's degree. It's in business
Right.
technically. My undergrad is in marketing, but there is a lot of overall. Anyways, so I in terms of credentials and education, I have a lot of experience and I have
Right.
work experience. But I got into the mortgage space just about 9 years ago now. And I took my first job, a marketing job for Guild Mortgage, a national lender. And I had zero mortgage experience. Like I had never even gone to any of my closings. Like my husband did all of that. So I was like,
Okay.
I couldn't even tell you what my rate is. I couldn't even tell you anything about mortgage.
Wow.
So I took a job to create 100% of the content and marketing for two top producers in our local market. So I felt the pressure pretty early on to like, oh, you got to kind of know what you're talking about because it's hard to
Yeah.
create content if you don't know what you're talking about. We
Right.
never had AI. Like I feel like old saying that now, but um so here's what I did is I sat out front of their offices. In between their offices literally was where my cube was. And I just said, "Hey, every time that you can leave your door open, would you? Because I want to
Wow.
listen. I want to know how do you overcome rate objections? How do you pitch builder business? How do you talk to a nervous first-time home buyer? I want to like take those conversations in so that I can then turn around and write your content for you." Well, what does AI do? It does exactly that,
Yeah.
right? Like it takes on the role of, hey, help me write a piece to a first time home buyer who's nervous. So I joke that I was AI before I was AI, but there's truth
Right.
to that. So for me, before I ever started using a single AI tool, I really understood the value of your story, the value of context, the
Right.
value of what makes copy good or sound,
Right.
fake.
Right.
Um, So now stepping into the role where that is what I do is for professionally is I help realtors and mortgage professionals
Right.
specifically learn how to build a human brand
Yes.
in an AI world. So how do you do that? There's a lot in that, but to answer your question, it's been a wild journey. You see a lot of there's just a lot of people that are throwing things up left and right. My advice is do your homework on who you're hiring or who you're
Right.
trusting as giving your advice because
Right.
somebody's been in AI for 2 weeks because they've been vibe coding for 2 weeks
Right.
and now they're
Right.
selling something.
They went and bought a Mac Mini, and now all of a sudden they've set it up, and they're OpenClaw,
That
and
claw open claw, and they're just,
they're
and there's so and that's what I love about the AI revolution right now is it really is like a creative renaissance.
yeah,
Anybody, with a couple of tools,
yeah,
$20 a month, we all roast ChatGPT now, but
right,
even that, it's an insanely powerful tool. If you have an idea,
yeah,
as a realtor, let's just get really specific there. If you have an idea of like, hey, this is a common pain point that my clients are always facing,
yeah,
right? Okay, how
yeah,
do you take your experience and that idea, what you know how to solve that? Could you go to ChatGPT or Claude or whatever platform you're using
yeah,
and just start having a question? Hey, this is a common experience that my clients always come to me for.
yeah,
Can I write, maybe that's a guide, maybe that's whatever it is that you're solving for.
right,
Um, so we're kind of past the point of excuses of not being able to solve solutions
right.
because AI has made it so available.
So I wholeheartedly agree with your statement that anyone who's claiming to be an expert in this space, which I actually think is kind of beautiful. I think that we are still so early in this
So
that
early.
go ahead, let them claim expertise. Next week they'll be wrong. I mean, next week they're
Mhm.
going to be right in this. Everyone's going to be back at square one with just how fast things. I mean, you know, 1 minute it was just Chat GPT, and then
Yep.
out of nowhere, Claude, Perplexity, Gamma. I could go on and on and on. I mean, it's just so many different ways of doing the things that I was talking to you earlier. Somebody gave me an Excel spreadsheet so that I could run a schedule in an event that I was at in Washington D.C. And I thought to myself, I wonder if I could turn this into an app, so I don't even have
Yep.
to refer to this Excel spreadsheet. And in 5 minutes, I turned it into a highly detailed, highly photographic click
Yep.
app that my daughter was even impressed. Like, Dad, all right,
Yes.
wait, it was a good deal. So, um,
And just
it's
the fact if you pause and just like think back what you
oh,
just said, even to 6 months ago, we
oh,
weren't
totally
there. Right?
no,
And so the acceleration with which things are advancing is mind-blowing. I actually heard, an I actually would call her an AI expert, Callum
okay,
Faulkner, um, or Callan Faulkner. Um, anyways, she had said the rate of change in AI from January 2026 to where we are today, which is in May,
yeah,
it has advanced more in these 5 months than it has in the last 3 years combined,
wow,
right?
wow,
And we're
yeah,
seeing that, and so
totally,
it's like, there's Moore's Law, which doesn't exactly translate to this, I would say, but the principle is the same, right? So it's like technology, doubles every I think it was like 18 months or something, and I think it's like 16x every year is what the
wow,
propensity was.
yeah,
So you think about it, and it's like for me, that's where I'm like, yeah, we're all overwhelmed. Like we're still in chat GPT free
right,
mode.
right,
And, now you can't open social media, you can't open your email, you can't do anything without being inundated with the next shiny object.
yeah,
And to me, it's actually having a reverse effect. I'm like, can we go back to like before AI?
yeah.
Because I mean, yeah, it's a lot.
Well, I mean, there is no area that's untouched. I mean,
Right.
maybe very few areas that I to your point, I use Suno every once in a while when I'm
Yeah.
working on guitar pieces. And I remember you wrote me the coolest song. You sent me that thing and you were like, Sean, you got to check this out. The song. And I was listening to it. I'm like, it's a really, really good song. I didn't know the Easter egg that you hid in there at the very end. And all of a sudden my name was in the song. And I just was like, I went to my wife, honey, listen to this. It's so great.
It's cool.
Um,
Yeah.
but there is this one of the things I always say about AI, probably this dates me a little bit, but I've said it before. So one of the great things about watching a great guitar player like a BB King or an Eddie Van Halen or anyway, on and on and on, Steve Vai, whoever, you're watching them in awe because you're seeing them play the solo that less than 1% of the world can play. And
Mhm.
one of the things inadvertently you don't realize that you're appreciating as you're watching this is the hours and years and
Yep.
lifetime of experience that it took to get to that
Yep.
is a part of the appreciation. It's a part of the art. And
Mhm.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. There's a little bit of a revolt in a sense to the ease of some things because our design is to strive. Our design is to
Yeah.
struggle a little bit to push against something so that something comes through so that when a song is just handed to you, the
Yeah.
novelty is there and it's really cool, but the struggle that makes you sit back and go, when I write songs, part of the joy that I have in writing songs is I know how long I put into that song.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
maybe even on the flip side, I know how fast a song came to me. That was just
Yeah.
like because it had been churning and I all of a sudden popped this song out in 20 minutes. It's like, wow, but I'm still a part of the engagement. The flip side, of AI and just creating songs is you lose a little bit of that sweat, you lose a little bit of that awe and wonder because
Yeah.
you weren't a part of it. So I agree with you. I think there's a little bit of a revolt. What are your thoughts?
I mean, yeah, it's I look at things now and I'm like, cool. I have literally, I can tell you handfuls of mortgage advisors that I
Right.
know closely, and I'm like, you just built a website in a couple
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah.
Like I have multiple loan officers in my sphere that are like, oh, I just built this portal for my clients, or I built this
Right.
portal for my realtors, and so there is a degree of like, wow, what used to really be a craft
Yeah.
is now diluted.
Right.
To that, I would also say though, you know, AI is not infallible. So we
Right.
all know that we've had it hallucinate on us or tell us, to eat something, and it's like, well, no, there's actually more calories in that, or whatever. Um, so I always go back. I actually was literally just having a conversation with my girlfriend, Michelle Berman, yesterday, and we were talking about this very thing. Cause it's like we've both cut our teeth for the last 10 plus years being like,
Right.
working toward being experts in our area. And now it's like all of a sudden there's just all these people around trying to do the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah.
Um, would realtors and loan officers, you're right there in that same boat, right? So it goes back to now, how do we differentiate ourselves?
Yeah.
I go the tagline of like, how do you be human in an AI crazed world? Like everybody is like drunk on the AI punch, and we're just going bananas over Hey Gen and every other cool tool
Yeah.
that we can use.
Right.
I actually really believe in the next 6 to 12 months, we're going to see trends go the other way, where
Yeah.
people that are going to be standing out, that are going to be, their content is going to be consumed differently, is because they're going more into that like old school. It's not going to be hyper polished.
Yeah.
I've seen some people, their posts that are doing really well, they literally take a picture with their phone of a handwritten note. Instead of
Wow.
writing it, going into Canva and making this beautiful carousel, they're literally scribbling it on a cocktail napkin, and they're like, that post was going viral, and I'm like, because it's your handwriting. It's something
Yeah.
that feels less produced, right? And so,
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like beating a dead horse, but the whole point of social media, at least my philosophy, is that you should be social, right? Your content, the whole goal
Imagine
of your
that. Yeah. Right.
content,
Right. Yeah.
rocket science, I
Right.
know, but your
Right. Right.
content, the whole goal of your content should be to spark conversations,
That's
right?
so
And
good.
so I think
So
we've
good.
gotten stuck. I mean, this is a little sidetrack, but we've gotten stuck with vanity metrics instead of looking at like, what is viral for you? Who
Yeah.
cares if you're going to get, thousands and thousands of shares? Do you
Yeah.
have 10 DMs that led to one listing appointment, that led
Right.
to one closing? Well, that
Right.
one post was wildly successful, right? And so
Right.
that's how I always look at my stuff of like, cool. So when I share content, I want my content to feel so natural to me that
Right.
when you're reading that caption, you can actually hear my intonation. You can hear my personality, my stutter,
Right.
you know?
I think that's something you bring. We were before we started the pod, we were talking about, kind of there's a subtitle for you, brand therapist, because
Okay.
you're a brand strategist, but the brand therapist. I think it at the end of the day, the amount of AI that you've mastered and be able to do as a mortgage or real estate professional, it really doesn't matter if you haven't captured your essence and being able to navigate that through that. So as
Yeah.
a brand therapist,
Yeah.
what's the biggest mistake that you see real estate agents and mortgage professionals and other professionals you deal with, I'm sure as well.
Yeah.
What are they missing when they dove into the deep end of the pool of AI, bought all the pro versions, and now all of a sudden, voila.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden their ChatGPT and Claude is sounding just like
Yeah.
ChatGPT and Claude.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's a great question. The first thing is we're missing context, right? So I always go back to my example of starting my job. I knew how to write copy. I knew what marketing campaigns worked. I knew how to craft, good emails and different things. I knew nothing about the mortgage industry, and
Mm,
specifically, I knew nothing about the loan officers that I was ghostwriting for. And
wow.
when I say that they wanted me to do all their content, I mean literally I was like writing their thank you cards. I was responding to their DMs. I was writing their Mother's Day posts.
Wha
So it was like, no, I literally don't I want you to ghostwrite all of my stuff.
Wow.
Um and so, I mean, this is a funny note, and this will probably make a really good example of tying down the point. Is I created this really like heartwarming post for Mother's Day. And, it was like, to my mom and all the moms out there, whatever. I don't remember what it said specifically, but, um, and so I also did engagement. So comments would come in and I would respond. And, most of them you're just like, oh, thank you so much. Or I hope you had a great day, whatever. Right.
Right,
And
right,
so
right.
I did that. I got one comment on the post and I was like, oh, thank you so much. I hope you really enjoyed your Mother's Day also. And my boss comes in the next morning laughing. She goes, that super generic, like, post that response that you made? I was like, yeah. She goes, that was my mother. The post that was honoring my mom for Mother's Day. And I'm responding as her to her mom in the most like, thanks, Karen.
Wow.
She was like, so that just like completely makes it obvious that I didn't write any of that. And, she was so gracious. She was like, laughed
Oh,
about it. But that's the point.
it's
Right?
perfect. Yeah.
So we expect, hey, ChatGPT, help me write an email to my clients, letting them know that their offer was declined
Right,
or, whatever. Write a post about why somebody should work with me versus the other three loan officers or realtors in my area.
right.
Cool. Well, I can give you a version that you close on time or you have your, 5,000 reviews or whatever, these metrics. Cool. Actually don't care about any of that. What would make me attracted to your content is if you start talking about how you got into this business and how last year was your hardest year ever because your child had cancer and you were like split between this and whatever.
Right.
Right? So it's like when we can start bringing our humanity, our ourselves back
Yeah.
into our content, I think people struggle with being vulnerable because for
Yeah.
so long we have preached that you have to be professional and you have to show up online a certain way.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
grid needs to look the same. You need to have, whatever. Well, that was a previous version of social media. We're not there anymore. We're in human content.
Yeah.
So, Sean, like what you do very well with your content. I mean, I always love seeing the posts about your daughter and you guys going to 7-Eleven and getting your Slurpees or playing your, she's cooking. Like I watch your stuff. Clearly I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
And that works. Why
Yeah.
does that work? Because I could just literally tell you from memory two of your recent posts that you've done.
Right.
And I promise you, you're not in my top 10 scroll, but I see all your stuff.
Right. Right.
Right? And I remember because we remember things about people that make us feel like we can connect to them. So now
Yeah.
if I were to meet you in real life in a coffee shop, I'd be like, how's your daughter? Is she
Yeah.
driving? How like
Right.
so
Oh, well,
for
and scary. No, she's doing good.
oh
No.
yes, I know, I know. I almost don't want to ask. But
Well,
so for
how
anybody listening, that's
yeah.
my biggest encouragement.
Hey, we hope you're enjoying this podcast. We do this every single week talking to industry leaders in real estate, mortgages, and AI. We want to see you thrive, and Renown Mortgage wants to partner with you in making you absolutely successful. Listen, I just watched an MIT report just recently that talked about 50% of the people who are investing billions right now into AI are going to roll it back in 2027. Why? You cannot replace the human element. The ads and all of the scroll stopping things that are saying, listen, create a digital version of yourself. As you've seen throughout our podcast with industry leaders, they're saying you are replacing the best gift that you have, your humanity. We use powerful videos and powerful AI, not to replace you, but to make you and your business better. And also at Renown Mortgage, we are here to make you the hero in your story with your clients when it comes to the real estate purchase and mortgage purchase side. So enjoy the rest of this podcast. But if you are wanting help in having an advocate and an ally come alongside you to make your story and your humanity thrive and pop, don't hesitate to reach out here. Now get back to that podcast. We'll talk to you soon. Okay, so I feel like you are, to almost bring it back to almost how we started, you are navigating us into, let's stay with the Disneyland metaphor, almost into reality land. How
Yeah.
do we, how do we, how do we make this? I feel like we're almost pioneering a transition that we're foreshadowing is coming. Like AI is great. We're going to use it. It's a
Mhm.
tool. It's going to make things better. But how do we ground, like, what are some techniques or ideas that people, because every
Yeah.
single funnel that we're following right now on our socials when we're scrolling is an invitation to the non-authentic version of ourselves.
It's
And
awful. Yeah.
here's our
It makes you like
strategy.
want to just throw it
Yeah.
away.
And you pay for it. You're paying $1,000 for a journey into being the inauthentic version of yourself. Uh, Katie, put your stick in the air and kind of walk us
Yeah.
over there. Really, what does that look like?
So I always say brand foundations first, AI
Yeah.
tools second. I'm
Awesome.
incredibly passionate about that, right? We kind of touched on this a little bit like, hey, before you're going into your AI tools and just creating a month's worth of content and spraying and praying out there, like
Yeah.
let's time out and let's take 5 steps back and let's actually look at who you are as a person.
Wow.
Right. And I think, I call it brand therapy because when I do these as one-to-one consultations, I'm not joking. I have had middle upper aged men crying
Wow.
like in
You,
person because
yeah.
they're like, I've never stopped to think about these questions. I've had people be like, wow, we are really soul searching. Now, I'm not asking you for like to divulge your deepest, darkest secrets,
Sure.
but
Sure.
it's just the fact of me asking, okay, how did you become a realtor? And like, I don't want your 1 minute elevator pitch. I want to know, like,
Yeah.
why? Because we all know that this is not the easiest market to be in. This is not the easiest sales type of job to have.
Right.
So I mean, I joke that we all have a special loose screw missing if we keep showing up through all of the cycles, right?
Right. Right.
So why do you keep coming? Like, yeah,
Mm,
we all like to make money, sure. But like that aside, what is it about helping people? What is it specifically? What links your belief about home ownership into
yeah.
what you do? Right. So I look at 5 key areas. I look at your brand foundations. Those are things like your mission statement, your unique value proposition. If I were to ask you, Sean, like what makes, Renown different? How do you answer that versus stacking you up to, rate? Well, we all know the obvious answer, but you
Right.
get the
Right.
point, right?
Totally.
So we're looking at those kind of foundational points. And then the second thing that I look at is your story. Every brand story has a good backstory. So
Yeah.
your backstory is your origin story. That's what I was just talking about. How did you get into this job? Why? Right.
Right.
So, and then we're looking at your brand story. And then the third thing that I'm looking at specifically are your audience personas. Okay, so we can say that I help first time buyers or move up buyers or, people that are aging out of their home. But what does that mean? Like if we
Right.
go to a first time home buyer specifically as an example, are they 22 just getting out of college and wanting to house hack with some
Right.
roommates? Are they
Right.
41 with a baby in the way and they've never done this and their rent is about to go up? Those
Right.
emotional triggers are going to be very different. Their level of risk, their level of communication, their accessibility, all of those things are going to impact how you may or may not create content for them.
Totally.
Okay.
So yeah.
So that's the third piece. And then another piece that we're looking at are your messaging. What are core themes that you really are like, this is a hill I'll die on and I will
Yeah.
continue talking through?
Yeah.
A great example. You need 20% down to buy a home. Well, we all know that that's true in our industry.
Right.
But when you look at the data, more than 50% of next gen home buyers, for example, do not know that that is true.
Right. Right.
Cool. So what are messaging, like what are things that you're going to talk on, right? And so we're putting those together, and I think I lumped, in the audiences I lumped two together, but those are the core pieces. So
Sure.
when we step back and now we can much better answer, this is who
Yeah.
I am, this is how I got here, this is who I help, this is why, this is how, and this is what I talk about. Now we can take that as a documented tool, and you can go apply that to your AI tools and say, hey, here's everything you need to know about Sally Smith, the realtor.
Right.
And I'm also located up in Washington and I'm licensed in these states, right? Now, help me write content that speaks to that nervous first time home buyer. And
Right.
how is my story losing my first home and now becoming a real estate investor speak to somebody that's behind me in their journey?
Yeah.
Did you see how you're linking through? So now,
Totally.
like AI wouldn't know any of that if you just said, help me
Right.
write a first time home buyer email.
Right.
They don't. But if we can think, that's where like my brand therapy, I'm like, step into my office, like
Yeah.
this is your intervention.
Come on.
Um,
I mean, the output gets it without
it's
that
better.
foundation, without that core, the output is the statistical generic vanilla ice cream cone that
It's like every other 9 out of 10 posts that you're scrolling past
right.
because there's not a shred of heart. I mean, I would just encourage anybody that's listening, with the next time that you scroll on social media, pay attention to your own habits. What is it about a hook, a caption, or a picture that will actually get your attention?
Yeah.
Right? And it's
Yeah.
usually something that feels personable, and really good content is going to sound so close to you speaking a one-to-one conversation with the other person on the side of the screen.
I think it's it flies in the face of the AI revolution when you look at some of the top producers in the real estate industry who, if you ask them what it is they're doing, I'm doing open houses and I'm getting face to face with people and I'm connecting with people. I mean,
Yes.
that still is what's resonating. I had someone on the podcast last week, Adam Coates, and it literally he said real estate is like moving a boulder. If you want to
Mhm.
continue to move that boulder, eventually it will start getting professional motion. He says, but things will work if you will work. And so
Yep.
there are things that I think we're sold promises from the AI space that you're not going to have to do this anymore. Not going to have to do this anymore.
No.
And that click me, click my funnel, click into the funnel of you're not going to have to do this anymore. And
But by doing that, you remove yourself
right,
out,
exactly.
like, I mean, and that's where, part of me just gets excited with where AI is advancing because I'm like, let them, because I can't wait for you to
Right,
get mulled over by your
right,
own stone, right? And so it's like,
right.
yes, I think we're looking at AI through incomplete lens,
Yeah,
and that we were originally sold that it's going to be leverage and efficiency and time. If anything, I have never spent more time in my life behind a screen
right,
trying
right,
to like figure this out,
right.
right? And obviously that gets easier over time. But here's the thing: we all know, everybody in this industry, we know that we live and die by our relationships.
Yeah,
It's our relationships, and it's our credibility. It's our reputation. Okay,
100%.
so if your content is working toward removing you, the person,
Yeah,
out of it, then what is any different than a 1-800 lender or Zillow taking
right,
your call and your lead, right?
right.
What AI doesn't know is, I mean, this is a great example. I was talking with our realtor 2 weeks ago. My husband and I were looking at a plot of land, and we were like, okay. So we sat down with our realtor and we're like, talk to us about this piece of land. And he goes, oh, I know exactly what piece of land you're talking about. I said, oh, you do? Why? Because it's been on the market for a long time. He goes, well, here's some inside information that you're not going to find on Zillow. That kitty corner lot is going to be a wedding venue. And the
Oh,
lot below that is going to be a development of, 200 homes. So do you want your beautiful 5-acre lot on a hill overlooking the valley to be having, lights from a wedding venue and a big
right,
neighborhood in the next 5 to 10 years? I'm like,
right.
no. He
No,
goes, cool. So is are you going to find that out online? No.
right. No.
Right. And so this again goes back to realtors, loan officers,
Yeah,
service-based professionals. We
yeah,
have value. The
yeah,
lie is that it's going to fully replace us. It's automating and disrupting like crazy.
yeah.
But if you are really good at what you do and you understand the IRL, the in real life
Right.
power
Yeah,
of, hey, going to an open house and face to face getting belly to belly with people, you will keep your competitive edge.
100%. 100%. You obviously, the alphabet of tools that are available out there right now. This is probably
Oh,
a little bit the
yeah.
alphabet of tools. What are you, and maybe not necessarily
What's in my
what's
tech
the
stack?
right. Well, what's your favorite? What's the one that you're like, oh my gosh, this is such a blast. Like, I don't even believe that. Like right now, mine is Gamma for some really weird reasons, just because of some
Okay.
things I can do with it that used to be a big struggle for me in the past, just not my
Mhm.
wheelhouse. And Gamma just goes,
Is
Sean, I got
that are you using it primarily for presentations?
yeah, for presentations. I mean, I feel like it's a hug. I'm just like, it just sits down with me and goes, "You're gonna be okay."
And
You know?
see, that's awesome. Why I
Yeah.
love different tools, different strokes for different folks, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of a design snob and it's like it's the one thing I have not been able to let go, which is fine. Like I still
Okay.
custom design my own website and all my slide
Okay.
decks and stuff. And at some point that may give a little bit, but
Sure.
I've not been able to find Gamma to like fill
Be
that
you,
need
yeah,
for me.
yeah,
Yeah, be me yet.
yeah. I'm
Um,
getting close, but yeah, I agree with that completely, but it's
and
still
here's the cool part
the
though.
task side of it, it's what it takes, though.
The more that you use any tool,
Yeah.
it trains and it gets to know you. It's just like if you hire an assistant, right? Like the more that you spend time with them, they're
Right.
going to be able to anticipate things faster and sooner. Um, so for me, I mean, Claudia. Claudia is my ride or die.
Okay.
I don't leave home without Claudia.
Right.
She's on my phone, she's on my desktop. She's not in my head, but she might as well could be.
There's a
Um,
space available when she's ready to move. It's like
Yeah,
right.
I mean, yes, I'm not any of the I mean, there's some weird people what they're doing with AI, but yeah, Claude is awesome.
Yeah.
It kind of makes me cringe lately with how everybody is on this like Claude
Yeah.
craze.
Yeah.
As like just for the record, I was using Claude like over 2 years ago before people
Right.
knew what Claude was. And it was good back then. Um, but
It
why
seemed like
I
that happened fast, right? I mean, it seemed like
But they
one
made really big advancements in
right.
just the last 2 or 3 months,
Months,
which
and yeah, about 2 or 3
yeah,
months ago, all of a sudden you started seeing it, and all of a sudden there was just such a
'cause now
massive
it's
social Claude, and now all of a sudden it's
so
Chat
here's
G
what's great about Claude and what like, it used to just be more of a chat, right? I like to
right,
say that ChatGPT trained the world how to chat, how to
right,
talk to an
right.
AI chat window. Okay.
Yes.
Claude is teaching the world how to use it like an actual workflow, like agentic work.
Yeah,
So, what makes Claude so good is in when you set it up, right? Going back to the foundations, just like any AI tool that you use, it needs context about you. So I think, I give the example of Claude, think of it like a business organization. So you
mhm,
have your projects. Your projects are like your departments: marketing, sales, content, podcast, whatever, right? Within your project, you have instructions. Those are like your SOPs. This is what this department exists to do, and this is what we do in this one square.
right,
Okay. Then you have your files. Your files are like all the supporting documents that say this is what we do, this is what we don't do, this is how we talk, this is our story. Um, then you look at your connectors. Your connectors, for anybody that doesn't know, it's also in Claude. Think of those like your admin. They are your out to the outside world and back, right? So it connects
Yep.
you to your third party applications like your Canva and your Zillow and all of the other things. And skills. Skills are probably my favorite thing. We used to have, custom GPTs in chat and it was isolated to a single text box. Now you have a skill set that is universal to your entire account. And
Yeah.
your skills are like your highly trained employees. So you
Yeah.
could have, I have a podcast producer, I have a podcast script writer, I have like a podcast interview prep, right? Those are just three because we're on a podcast. But
Right. Right. Right.
um, I have probably over 30 different skills and they fire for different things and they're all highly trained. So now I
Wow.
can step into a project, which is my content department. I
Right.
get to be the CEO, which is the human in the loop, and my department has highly trained employees, which are my skills. And I show up to that team meeting, which is a chat inside the project. And I say, all right,
Right.
guys, here's my team meeting. Here's what we're
Right.
doing. Go. And now it's like I have my employees that go pull the files from the department. They have all
Amazing.
the context they need. And then
Right.
they come back to me and say, hi, CEO, here's what we came up with. And I say, yes, no, done, post.
Right.
Right, and
Wow.
that's not even talking like agentic workflow, but just to
You're
give like a really easy conceptual view of how chat is set up to be different
right.
than Claude, or I'm
Right.
sorry, how Claude is set up to be different.
I think my first toe kind of being dipped into the Claude automation pools, I thought, okay, I'm going to try the most entry level co-work
Mhm.
action. And I had a desktop that was just had gone awry. It
Older,
had
yeah.
screenshots and everything, just everything. And so I it was even I can't believe sometimes maybe you do this. I don't, or I do. I get a little bit probably a little too authentic in my communication. Like I will
Mhm.
even say, "Hey, I am really burdened by this desktop right now." Like it even cares that I'm burdened,
Yes.
but I just feel like I need to give it some context to why I'm asking it to do this trivial task. I'm really burdened right now by this
Yeah.
desktop. All these screenshots, like,
Oh, I say please, thank you. My husband's
okay, yeah,
like, "You
right,
don't need to say please."
right.
I,
I need
like,
to
had Claude I vibe coded, I built a whole app, which I'm, like,
okay,
super proud of. I built an
wow,
app, integrated it with a paywall, a CRM system,
wow,
all of these things. It was super complex, and I got done, and I was like, "I feel like I just did a thesis." Like, that was, like, my dissertation.
right,
And, so I went into Claude, into that project, and I said, "I just feel like I need to say thank you. You just helped me
wow,
build something that, 1, will help me earn income, but 2, this was, like, the hardest thing I've ever done on a technical level, and I couldn't have done it with you." And then, like, then it just gives you this love bomb of, like,
right.
"Well,
It is
here."
so So sometimes when something won't work out, I'll be like, okay, I feel like you're not understanding me.
Yes.
And the apology, Sean, I'm sorry. I mean, you're
Yeah.
right for calling that out. Right. But so
Because you
when
read
I
the
hit,
brand book.
yeah, right, when I hit execute on that, um, I watched it happening and I watched all my files getting, synchronized and and I just sat there. There's no way a year
Yeah.
ago
Yeah.
someone would
No.
have said, "Yeah, you're gonna automate the organization of your desktop and your workflow," and
Oh, yeah.
it is honestly a little, probably, I mean, I guess not intimidating is the right word, but there's just a little bit of angst when you think I'm beginning to turn this piece of something that I've kind of white knuckled held, my organizational process over to someone who obviously is gonna do it better, is gonna
And unless they
understand it
go
better.
rogue. I mean, that does happen.
Right, unless you're wrong, right?
It does
But,
happen.
so, and it's one of the things that when I got, my hands on ChatGPT, early on, I just stumbled across it and, it wasn't a thing yet. I remember sitting in my living room and I was having a theological conversation with it. I was debating and I said, "I don't want you
Yeah.
to agree with me. I want," so I was having this theological debate and it actually, I think pretty soundly won the debate. I
Yeah.
lost that debate and I was like, "Okay."
You're like, "Oh, it's really good with
Right, it
exegetics."
was
Yeah.
really good, but I realized that one of the things that was really, important, what I saw was gonna be important was skillful prompting, like
Yeah.
being skillful in setting the context of what you're doing, the environment of what you're doing, and the who, and
Yeah,
so that the feedback and the output. And I thought prompt engineering is going to become the thing. I almost see
but
now.
it's almost not anymore.
Yeah, it's almost not
We're
anymore. It's
past
like
that
that
because now
that,
you
that
have a
ship sailed.
skill. Yeah, so
Yeah,
you have a
right.
skill. It was prompt engineering. It was basic chatting. Then it was prompt engineering. And it was like,
Yeah,
oh, download my 20 prompts to do this. Like, we're so past that. I
yeah,
actually probably need to get rid of my freebie download on my website because it's like
right,
outdated.
right.
Um, and now it's like, okay, you have trained agents or what I just call them assistants. It's just
Yeah,
another tool for a
yeah,
set of instructions on what it's supposed to do consistently. Um, and so now it's like this morning was on a call with a friend and I was like, "Oh, hey, here's what you do. You just drop this transcript in and it just literally created 7 pieces of assets in like 2 minutes. It was like, here's the show notes, here's the
yeah,
description, here's
yeah,
your email, here's the email
yeah.
for your guest to use, here's your blog post." I mean, it was just like it was good. I was like,
Unreal.
"Oh, there's a couple things I might tweak here and there, but nothing critical."
Right. No, it's absolutely one of those things that that to our point, right? The evolution of AI is moving so rapidly that some things that were absolutely vital, prompt engineering, make sure now are,
Yeah.
that tide is slowly rolling out. And it's like now where we are, I I like what you said earlier. If anyone believes that, they're an expert, an AI expert, check yourself because next week you probably aren't again because we're all back to square one. But I tend to think 10 or 15 steps down the road sometimes. And I'm thinking that I can
I
foresee a
think
point where we're all going to be open access to being able to open something in our computer and have a conversation like you and I are having that is a problem solving conversation. Like, this is what's
yeah.
deeply going on with me right now. I mean, I don't know if AI, I mean,
Oh,
AI
I've used
therapy.
AI as a therapist. I
Do
had
you,
like
oh,
a
are you
oh,
okay? You're doing
I had a deep inner healing session. I mean, not to like replace Holy Spirit or anything, but I had a
sure,
deep
right, right, right.
session last week where I was triggered by something business that was going on and I was like, I can't quite nail this. So I
Right,
literally just opened chat and I was like, I'm really frustrated about this. I was like, can you, I don't just say tell me because I don't
right,
expect it doesn't read your mind. It's not
right,
telepathic.
for sure.
But what I do is I always prompt and I say, please ask me questions. Also, I'll just kind of word dump. Like, I'm really frustrated about X,
Yeah.
Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. And here's literally the prompt that I use. I said, imagine that you are sitting across a table from me at a coffee shop and you have 1 hour to interview me. I said,
Mm,
can you please ask me questions, not surface level questions, but can you please ask me surface level questions that will help me understand why I might be feeling X?
X, okay.
And it was
Wow.
really cool because I was like, whoa, I probably would have paid money for somebody to tell me this because it started
Oh,
to get really like, oh, yeah, this actually stems back to how I parent my children or, whatever it was. Um, so yeah, I think
that's
we're
great.
we're headed in so many different ways for AI, but I just want to put a quick little pin on this for anybody that
Yeah,
might be listening because I, you know, I think we all can hear it's fun to talk these AI stories of like how it's doing all of these fun things and it kind of feels like magic a little bit.
right.
Um, but it's never lost on me that that's like a very small fraction of where people are in their AI journey. And the majority of our audience and the majority, even in our industry, are very much still like,
Yeah,
I'm dabbling in Chat GPT.
right.
I may have a paid account. I'm using it, but I have no idea and I'm so overwhelmed. I don't know where to start. And I
Yeah,
think that overwhelm creates a big disconnect for people to like just not even want to jump in. So my advice for
I get
that
it.
is, hey, like we actually AI is not going to go anywhere.
Right,
It's here. It's in
right.
every part of the life.
Yeah.
So we don't really have an excuse to say I don't want to learn it,
Mhm.
but we do have the opportunity to say, how can I start being curious? So, if you have
So good.
15, 20 minutes a day, I'm not just saying like doom scroll Chat GPT,
Right, right,
but
right.
audit your business Okay. And so, where are the biggest pain points or time sucks that you do right now? Is it responding to email that you're like, I could have an assistant do that?
Right.
Great. Could we look at going into Claude and setting up a skill that helps you have some sort of a reply? Help me
Yeah.
reply to this email,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or, I spend a lot of time doing market research before I write my listing descriptions. Great. Can we spend 30 minutes to an hour building that so that now in the future, you're not having to do this every single time, but
Totally.
we've built something. So I always like to encourage people like, hey, like I have small kids. Okay. So this example is for small kids, but it's like, how do you eat an elephant? Right? It's one bite at a time.
Right in time. Total.
How do we learn AI? How do we learn any part of our job?
Yeah.
Well, you're not going to learn it overnight, but you have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
So if you're feeling overwhelmed, like welcome, join the club. We're all feeling it to
We're
different
all
varying
hearing it,
lengths,
right.
but we're
Right.
all needing a little AI therapy.
Right.
And so I would just say, hey, rather than feeling like you're overwhelmed, like the people that are wanting to make money off of you to buy my course, attend my webinar,
Yeah.
like bye-bye,
Yeah.
right? If they're good, they're not gonna go anywhere, and if they know their stuff, they'll start appearing in your inbox.
Right.
But,
That's
for your
why.
agents, for your audience, I would say, this guy right here on the call that's talking to me, he knows a thing or two.
Yeah.
Go connect with Sean. Go
Yeah.
connect with Justice. Like, you find really good people in
Mhm.
your local community and online
Yeah.
and go sync up with them, ask questions, get in rooms, mastermind.
Yeah.
And like I said, you guys are phenomenal at what you're doing, the value add that you have. So if you're
Yeah.
listening, start with
Yeah.
Sean, start with
Yeah.
Justice. Be like, how are you guys using AI? And can you help me? What is a chat GPT? Great.
Well, and
That's my two
I would
cents.
flip that right back around and say, and I was just thinking about it, like one of the things that I think you do that is you do so well is the invitation to bring the authentic self to this
Yeah.
AI, because that's the part that gets lost.
Yeah.
And so that brand therapy is, I think it's something that the majority of people need. So to that point, how do people find you? Where would they go if they're wanting to make an
Everyone
appointment?
needs an intervention at some point,
Everybody,
and maybe of varying degrees.
how do they
But
say,
yeah,
and so if you're looking to potentially cry with a complete stranger talking about AI,
come.
Katie Shive, there we go.
Yeah,
So,
I love it.
so how do they reach out? How
Um,
do they find you?
Yeah, so my website is just my name, katieshive.com. And I am most active on LinkedIn and Instagram. So
Okay.
my handle is just at Hey Katie Shive, and LinkedIn is just Katie Shive. But
And
I
we will put all
promise,
of
if
our
you just
comments
type
below.
my name somewhere,
Yeah.
something will pop up. I've been doing this long enough. You'll find something.
There you, Katie, this has
Hopefully,
been
it's what you
absolutely
need.
amazing. Yes, we will do this again. I feel like we kind of scratched. I don't know. We didn't just scratch the surface. We kind of dug in there a little bit, but I think there's some bigger holes to dig in the future. So thank you so much. And
Yeah,
again, Rise by Renown Podcast, real estate agents, loan officers, we are here to equip you, to encourage you. That is the point of Rise. That is what I get to do, and I love it every single day. If you liked it and you found any value, like, share, subscribe, all the good things. Send this to someone you know who you think will absolutely benefit from what Katie just dropped on us today that we get to process. So thank
yeah.
you so much again. We will see you next time.